What's good, YouTube? It's Louis Gusto. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're in one of Chicago's most vintage neighborhoods, an area of the city that was once referred to as the Cabbage Patch and later became the capital of improv comedy. That's right, we're in Old Town Chicago. In this video, we're gonna be answering questions like, is Old Town worth visiting? Is it the oldest neighborhood in Chicago? And what's the vibe like here? If you'd like to skip to things to do in Old Town, go ahead and click this timestamp right here. Make sure you guys watch until the end for my personal Old Town recommendations. And let me know in the comments if I missed anything. Also, don't forget to check out my other Chicago videos linked in description below. And I also have a trivia question for you guys. Before Old Town, what was the name of this neighborhood? The boundaries of Chicago neighborhoods are constantly up for debate, but as of now, the borders of Old Town are Armitage on the north, Division on the south, Clark Street on the east. Now pay attention, on the west, Halsted, north of North, and Clybourn, south of North. And we're about 2 miles from downtown. Many of the streets in Old Town predate the Great Fire and thus do not follow Chicago's famous grid pattern. One of the best ways to get to Old Town Chicago is taking the CTA Brown Line and getting off at the Sedgwick stop. Built in 1900, it's one of the oldest L stations in the entire city. Other ways to get here include the 36, the 22, the 156 bus. You can also take the CTA Red Line and get off at the North and Clybourn or the Division and Clark stop. There are so many ways to get to Old Town, but as always, I highly recommend taking public transportation. Before Chicago was settled by Europeans, Old Town was the home of many Native American tribes like the Potawatomi, the Miami, and of course the Illinois. They all thrived here, and Clark Street was one of their main trails. It's important when we think about the rich history of Chicago not to forget its original inhabitants. In the 1850s, many of Chicago's German immigrants settled right here in Old Town, partially due to the great farming that was available on this land, earning this the nickname, the Cabbage Patch. This German influence can be seen all around the neighborhood, particularly in buildings like the Schmidt Metzgerei, which is an old German butcher shop. In later years, Old Town would become home to Japanese Americans and Puerto Ricans. Along the way, it would become a haven for artists, probably due in no small part to all the diversity here in Old Town. All right, guys, we are now in the Old Town Triangle Historic District. The Great Chicago Fire of 1871 destroyed all the homes in Old Town, and in fact, the only building to survive was St. Michael's Roman Catholic Church. Shortly after the fire, wooden cottages were rebuilt in this area, but a Chicago ordinance put a stop to all of that. Newer, larger homes were built with stone and brick. And during the 1940s, Old Town was home to one of the nation's first neighborhood preservation movements. We are now in front of the Henry Gerber House, a National Historic Landmark. From 1924 to 1925, Henry Gerber lived right here and founded the United States' first organization that advocated for the rights of gay people. He wrote the group's mission statement and filed for incorporation right there. Of course, there are many spots to eat in Old Town, from old school classics like Topo Gigio, Orso's, and Twin Acres, to new school favorites like Broken English Taco Pub and Small Cheval. Small Cheval is a spin-off of Au Cheval in the West Loop. All of the burger, none of the weight. After eating a burger, I always have a big craving for sushi, so we stopped at Kamahachi, Chicago's first sushi bar, established in 1967. Let's get our roll on. Check this out, we got the Kamahachi roll, which has tuna, cucumber, avocado, and masago, and also the negi hamachi, yellowtail and scallion. Kamahachi is also home to Batsu, the live Japanese game show experience. Very funny, although I haven't personally been. Let me know in the comments if you've been there.
There are so many options to choose from in Old Town for coffee and baked goods, but we decided to stop at La Fournette, which is an authentic French bakery, to share some espressos.
This is Old Town Ale House, one of Old Town's most famous dive bars. And did you guys get the answer to my trivia question? This neighborhood used to be called North Town. And Now, it's not the oldest neighborhood in Chicago, but we'll talk more about that in a future video.
If you're health conscious, stop at Real Good Juice Company. We got the juice pak shakur today. It's got apple, kale, parsley, cucumber, celery, romaine, and lemon. Real Good specializes in farm-to-bottle juices, and they have their No Yo Froyo based with almond milk.
St. Michael's Roman Catholic Church was built in 1869. It's the only building in Old Town to survive the Great Chicago Fire of 1871. However, it was pretty badly damaged. Shortly after the fire, crews worked very hard to restore this building, and it's remained a vital foundation of this neighborhood ever since. It's known for its stunning art and architecture designed by August Walbaum. The church was rededicated in 1883 and the spire was completed in 1888. And there's an old Chicago saying that goes, if you can hear the bells of St. Michael's, you're in Old Town. The Midwest Buddhist Temple is a temple of Jodo Shinshu Buddhism, also known as Shin Buddhism. It was founded by the Reverend Gyodo Kono. This building was built in 1971, designed by Hideki Arao. It was a place of worship for many newly arrived Japanese Americans to Chicago in the 60s and 70s, and has a new legacy garden that's open the first Sunday of every warm month. The Second City Theater is the birthplace of improv comedy as we know it. It was founded in December of 1959, just up the street, but in 1967 moved to this building. The facade behind me was taken from the Garrick Theater, an architectural masterpiece designed by Adler and Sullivan. And all around Old Town, you can find relics of Chicago's past, just like this one. Many legendary comedians got their start right here at the Second City, including Chris Farley, Bill Murray, Tina Fey, Amy Poehler, Steve Carell, Stephen Colbert, Mike Myers, Tim Meadows, and Harold Ramis. The Second City is also special to me because when I was doing my comedy a few years ago, I took classes right here. We're in front of Zanies, which is the nation's third longest running comedy club. In contrast to the Second City, which is improv, Zanies is all about stand-up, which is written, prepared material, and you can find some of the most famous stand-up comedians right here at Zanies. Alright guys, we're at the Hudson Chess Park, yet another chess park that you can find in Chicago. It's nestled in between the Midwest Buddhist Temple and the old German butcher shop. Come here to play some chess with friends and get yourself a checkmate. The Old Town Art Fair takes place every June. It started in 1949 and is one of the United States' longest running art shows. During the 1960s, Old Town was home to many unique shops and venues, some of which survive to this day. We're currently in front of the House of Gluns, Chicago's oldest wine and spirit store. It was founded in 1888 by Louis Gluns, and it's still owned by the same family. Shout out to Louis Gluns. Fleet Feet is a great destination for all your running needs. When I run my 5Ks, I come here to pick up my race packets.
We're about to go into the Spice House to pick up some spices. It was established in 1957 and it just smells amazing.
If you guys are enjoying this video, make sure you finesse that like button, and if you're new to my channel, subscribe to join the Gusto gang. Now the vibe of Old Town Chicago is quieter than downtown. It's a good reflection of Chicago. You've got the old and the new coexisting. It's definitely undergone a lot of changes throughout the years, but you could say that pretty much about any area in Chicago, or for any major city for that matter. We appreciate the past, but also remember that change is constant. Through it all, Old Town still maintains its unique charm, and it's definitely worth a visit. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Peace. After a long day of filming in Old Town, you gotta stop at Old Town Ale House, the best dive bar in all of Chicago, for a nice beer.
Cheers!
Let me get a good volume. Good, it's a good volume? Okay. Once referred to as the Cabbage Patch, but later became the capital of improv. St. Michael's Roman Catholic Church was completed in 1869. Oh shoot, and then what? You could see this German influence in building like the Schmitz. After the fire, wooden cottages. Okay, great. Comedians who got their start here include Tina Fey, Steve Carell, Chris Farley, Bill Murray, Stephen Colbert, Mike Myers, Tim Meadows, Amy Poehler, and Harold Ramis. There was no way I was going to remember all those.